Welcome everyone to Gimli's Forge. It's time for another challenge, and in this one I'm going to be racing to all four corners of the map in the fewest number of turns, effectively seeing how quickly I can earn that I've got monument. So, I'm going to start with tiny and then work my way up through small, then normal, onto large, huge, massive, and... Oh, you thought that was the largest? Prepare to have your mind blown. We're going right up to Mahoosive, the new 10,000 tile map. That's more than 11 times larger in area than the massive we're all familiar with. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. All will be explained in good time. First thing to do is decide which settings we're using. So I think I'm going to come back to the tribe screen after we've got this. In terms of opponents, there could be whole strategies about trying to farm the meeting stars and use that to fund our expansion, but I think I'm going to lock it on 0 for all attempts, just to take that luck factor out of it, so it's purely how quickly they can expand with the normal tribe economies. Then that means difficulty doesn't matter. Map type, I don't know, I feel like that's kind of where some of the creativity can come in. So potentially Moonies and ice sleds on Waterworld might be fun, but I think that kind of goes hand in hand with the tribe, so I'm going to keep that open. And then map size, as we've already said, we're going to start with tiny and work our way up. So that brings us to the tribes. I already have in my mind, I think Amaji is going to be the powerhouse of this challenge, with riders being able to expand incredibly quickly and not requiring any additional tech. But I'm wondering, would a turn 0 tribe be able to reach everywhere with one explorer? So, I mean, here we spawn in the center, but just imagine that we were a walk away from the lighthouse. So our warrior in turn, it's probably better to demonstrate this properly. I'll try and get one where we actually spawn in the center. And for the sake of demonstration, I'm going to put opponents to 1, just so it should push us towards the edge. Okay, there we go. So this is with a Bardo opponent, but best case scenario, let's imagine we got a spawn like this with no opponents. Then first turn you'd be able to take the lighthouse, so that's 1. Would you be able to get all 3 of the others in 1 turn? So the key thing to note is that an explorer always moves 15 tiles. And the other thing is that since all we need to do is find the 4 lighthouses and get vision on them, since an explorer has a vision of 1, all we need to do is get to the tile diagonally adjacent. So we can sort of simplify this down from an 11 by an 11 into a 9 by 9 grid in which we need to reach all the corners. So if an explorer has just gained vision on 1 lighthouse, then it just needs to travel 8 tiles to get to the other one. And it could do this by any route, as long as it doesn't backtrack, it would still be 8. So 8 is our optimal distance to get from one lighthouse to another. Okay, but yeah, looking at this isn't going to work, because it would be 7 to get from there to there. This is 1 tile away from the edge. And 8 is our full 15, so we'd only be able to get 3 of the lighthouses on turn 0. So that's not going to work. Okay, so we can't rely purely on 1 explorer, because it can only get 2 at a maximum in 1 turn. So that's good to know. Right, so back to selecting a tribe. I'm just thinking about the ones that have unique abilities. So turn 0 tribes. We've ruled out that they can get it on turn 0, so you'd end up with just a long walk with a warrior. I really feel like Amaji is the way to go here with riders. Yalak has roads. I think roads are going to, perhaps for larger maps, might come in useful, but I think you just go Amaji and play roads. Hiku, you can get an explorer on turn 0, and they have scouts for later in the game, so I feel like when the map gets bigger, maybe. And then special tribes have some unique abilities like boosting, poly pushes. I feel like Amaji is going to be the way to go here, so let's see how quickly we can do this. So we're pretty near the centre, but I think this is definitely our closest, and we're on the centre line, so we can pick either of these 2. If we're going to get to both of them, since we established that an explorer can only get to 2, then I may as well go for one of the further ones first, since there's no benefit in reaching the closer one a turn earlier, but the other one a turn after. This is when we can get everything at the same time. There we go, then we'll be able to take our explorer for the other. I guess I step here for now and we'll see how this goes, so fingers crossed We managed to get both lighthouses. That is number 2. Ah, and just unfortunate there. So it doesn't look like we're going to be able to do this in as few turns as I'd hoped. At this stage, do I try and abort and... Well, we definitely can't do it this turn. What I might actually do is clear this fog and capture, and then hope that on turn 4... let's clear this fog again so it doesn't pull the Explorer the wrong way. We should be able to get both of these. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, easily. Since they have 15 moves, and we can lay down our I've God on turn 4. I really feel like it should have been possible to do it a turn earlier. It was just Explorer logic there. But I'm going to stick to 1 try per map type. So let's start the next one. I think Amagi is still going to be the pick here, but we're going on to small. So probably the same strategy. We may need to get multiple explorers though, so take a new city on our way to getting a lighthouse. I'm going to push for the second closest lighthouse first, and kind of performing a similar strategy to before. We don't lose ourselves any turns in moving on to the village here, because it's still 3 moves, so try that, and we may be able to get a double lighthouse. So I'm going to take... I'm going to take organisation first. Since we don't have a lighthouse yet, we won't be able to actually get the Explorer yet, but I'll take the village nonetheless, so we have it saved up. And we'll be looking at turn 5 to get that one. This one has these 4 towers, which I'm hoping will give it a better shot at moving in the direction I want it to, because there's a high probability that it moves towards... Yeah, it does. Perfect. So we're going to get this lighthouse. That's 1 of 4, and it won't be able to reach the other one, but at least we'll start to pave out the way. Okay, moving closer. Actually, if I was really lucky, I may be able to do it this turn. If I took an Explorer out of here, 1, 2, and then the length of this side, -2, so that's 14, meaning we'd need to move 12 to get from here to here. So we would be able to do it. It's a bit of a risk, since it may just arc back this way. But let's have a go, that would be pretty insane. And if not, we just have another go at it next turn with another Explorer. So possibility we can do this... Oh no, it's going to head this way, isn't it? Ooh, but double Explorer, I hadn't thought about that. We get the other lighthouse. So I wonder what happens if we have an Explorer in an Explorer. My guess is this one starts, and then we continue with that afterwards. Ah. Too bad, okay. So we've got 3 out of our 4 on turn 4. We've used all our Explorers though, so it is just going to be a long shot up here. So not optimal, but let's just finish the job. We'll take this because why not? And maybe start to make some road plays with the villages that are already in place, because they'll basically act like already placed roads. So let's place one here and there, so we can move 3. Oh, I may have misplayed there. So I'm going to do it on turn 8. I could have, if I'd saved the stars, captured, but there's a risk it would have just gone for that fog tile. Since that's 3 away and that's 5 away, yeah. And it looks for fog within 4 tiles, so I think that's the best I could have done. Very slim chance it would have looped around, but it's fine. We've done it in 8. So that was small in 4 and... Tiny in 4 rather, and small in 8. We get our monument and we're on to the next one. So, time for normal. I wonder if it might be Amagi all the way. Really going to be buying a lot of tech. I don't think early income is really needed. Is there any reason Yalak would be better? No, you get the movement from riders anyway. And then we could go for like an archipelago or water world or something and just get loads of scouts. So scouts have a movement of 3, but I feel like it would take a long time to get them set up when we're working on this small scale. Maybe when it gets larger. I want to just try out a theory and see if this works. Oh, dry land, I shouldn't have gone for that. So probably archipelago makes the most sense. It means that almost every tile will be land or shallow water, so an early explorer can still get everywhere since there's very little deep water it can't move on. And it means we can do a bit of walking around in the early game as well. So I think that makes it better than water worlds where we'd just be stuck on an island. So I'm going to start with the early explorer. Oh, that's unlucky. Okay, missing out on an early lighthouse. I guess we're going to have to get used to that with the larger maps, though. So I'm going to make my way to a village, probably this one because it has double fish. Then we'll be able to lay down a port on turn 3. Then we'll capture there. Okay, it's going to take us a while to get sailing, so I may just take another village while I'm at it. So we get 1 lighthouse, and that was 1, 2, 3, 4, so there's 11 spots left. It's not going to be able to make it here, since this is a 16 length map, so 14 to get from there to there. But we get a decent bit of vision, and that's going to help later when we have scout ships, since they'll be able to move more and not be limited by the fog. A lot of fish up here, that's an amazing map. Okay, I can't upgrade this yet, but we'll capture and train a warrior. Then port there gets us our upgrade in our capital. And we'll take an explorer, of course. Should be able to get the South Lighthouse. Oh. Never mind. Then scouts are going to be really important. So do I wait to be able to get one? Well, I'd only be able to get 1 next turn. And rafts still have 2 movements, so I don't think it's worth waiting around. Turn 7 though, this isn't too bad. Okay, there's our first scout, and this can be the one to go for the East Lighthouse. We can make our way through this cut through. That's lighthouse number 2. Yeah, this is where the scouts will outmatch riders, but I wonder if we've gone for Kiku too early, because probably we could have done better with... Oh, I messed up there, I should have gone for the mountain. Bother, yeah, we have more than enough for climbing. So it will be turn 11, but we could have done it turn 10. And I'll place my explorer for our giant and move on to the next one. So on to large now. I actually surprised myself there. Kiku worked really well. I was expecting Amaji just to be the go-to every turn. We haven't been able to see their knights in action, nor their roads, which could be pretty powerful, since you can get 6 movement with a knight. So maybe we come back to them, but I am liking Kiku. And we're on to large, so this is number 4 of 7, because remembering, stick around to the end, and we will be playing a Mahoosive map for the first time ever. But for now, it's on large. So that's 18 by 18, meaning that an explorer from like here, a city here, may just be able to get to the other end. But we're getting to the realms now where we can't rely on explorers quite as much as we have been, since the distances are so vast. But we're going to try 1 to start with, and luckily it does start to go north, but it doesn't look like we're going to pick up anything. Ooh! Okay, lucky on its 15th move, it does find the West Lighthouse, which is brilliant. Even if it didn't, it still does help with movement, since scouts can move 3, but they have a vision of 2, so if they're on their own going into fog, then they are limited to 2 movement, effectively, since they can only move as far as what they've uncovered. But perhaps we'll start doubling up scouts soon, since we're going to be taking enough turns that we'll actually have the stars to afford that. That looks like a potential to... Oh no, there's no land there. Okay, so I'm going to move south with this one. So we'll take this village and get ourselves another explorer. And then, same as last time, try for sailing. And make a race for the corners. There we go, guarantee ourselves finding the village. So we can play down 1 port next turn. Let's do it here since he has further to travel. Then we'll upgrade this for stars. We won't have enough for sailing. I'm just going to move in and maybe we take an explorer off the village we find. Then I'll train another and maybe I just go for a workshop. because an explorer here isn't going to do us much good. Okay, I'm not quite going to be able to connect around. That's okay. And it's going to be a while before sailing as well. So let's just get the port down and we'll go with rafts for now. I think it's better to put him on the water and we'll wait on that explorer. I'll capture though. Then moving in here gives us the ability to make that guy a scout. I always seem like I'm a turn off though. Okay, you know what? Next turn I'm going to take the tech so I can now move on deep water. I'll move further in. Ruin, might actually get a chance to use that. And pass. Okay, I don't think we make him a scout yet, because otherwise it would push the explorer north. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Actually, that could work. Let's make a scout here. Oh, this land not really helping. But let's try the explorer. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay, and stars. That's okay. We'll send him down, and this one north. Might be looking like turn 11. I'm going to get organisation and try this explorer, which should clear the whole area. And then final move, yes, we're going to do this on turn 11 for a large map, and I will go ahead and again take the giants. Okay, on to huge. Just to alternate things, I'm going to try how well a measly play as I get larger, but we may switch back if they're not as useful for massive and Mahoosive, because Kiku are working very well. So very central spawn, that's still going to be our closest lighthouse, since the centre, it's going to be 4 towers because this is even. I think it may be these 4, so we're sitting just above the centre. We have a mountain though, restricting movement slightly that way. I think I'm going to head for the furthest one first, and it may be a case of sending 8 riders around. Let's go west. I am going to need to actually have the capacity for more riders, so I'll take another village. But the idea is to get 2 riders in each direction, and then they can tag team and both actually be able to move 2 each turn. Probably that's the only tech I'm going to need, apart from roads maybe last minute. So I can go ahead and capture. And which explorer should I take? Since I already have a rider here, so we'll actually be able to make use of it, I'm going to go for the south one first. Wow, okay. Whew. Unlucky there, almost got it. Okay, it's depending on which way this goes, but if this explorer went north, then this is quite an easy one to get since I already have the vision. So I could push west with that one. But that'd be a bit stupid if the explorer just went west as well. I think I'm just going to go south. Okay, I'm going to take this explorer first and see which way it goes. Okay, it does go west. So it gives us vision, but doesn't reveal one, unfortunately. Take the other city, and soon we need to start getting more riders. So do I go 2 this turn, or do I take this explorer as well? There's a chance it just loops around, so I'm going to give this guy a buddy so they can both move 2 each turn. He's going to continue his journey down. If there were 2 fruit around here, I may have taken it, but there's no way for me to expand with the tech I have, so I'll take another rider up there. Okay, could do it with climbing now, but I don't see a need for climbing, and the challenge ends when I get all 4, not when I get the first one, so there's no hurry, for that one at least. Should I start tag teaming? Yeah, I think I'm going to prime this one, so I'm going to... You know, I'm actually going to move there. So I'm going to encourage the explorer to go north, since there are these 3 tiles within a 2-tile radius. So that should suck it that way. And we may actually be able to get the north one this turn if the... Ooh. Okay, that's good though. That's not the end of the world. They can just work on that. And what's our plan for the east corner? Go for 2 there. So clearing that fog. What are we? 20 along, so may actually be able to do it with that one. We've still got the north to deal with though. Okay, there's number 1 on turn 8. And we can upgrade with that. Okay, we have enough for roads now. So I'm going to play a road there to deal with the forest. That means this explorer may actually be able to get the lighthouse. Since this length is 20, so 15 is enough to get to the corner. It does. That's number 2. Number 3 is easy. And then number 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I can get there with roads. It's going to be another 2 turns. Okay, and I'll get climbing. Move on to the mountain, and there we go. 11 turns to reveal all 4 lighthouses on a huge map. Not too shabby. That leaves just 2 more. 900 tiles and 10,000 tiles. It's hard to pick between Kiko and Amaji. I was expecting Amaji to just be the obvious choice for all of these. But we've got Rider Roans on their hand and Raft Scouts, neither of which require too much setup but allow them to expand quickly. So I think I'm going to do Massive with Amaji and then show off Mahoosive with Kiku, because I'd like to experiment with both of them. Starting very centrally, and I think what I'm going to experiment with this time is going for a sort of cluster of villages, so sending them off in different directions. Maybe even take some workshops. That way we can get the income and the population capacity to get a large number of riders and send them off into the 4 corners. So probably don't need organisation yet. We could do more with another rider. Okay, unlucky with villagers there, but not a lot to go on. Okay, I think next turn is our chance to get down some workshops, as our others move on and hunt for the villagers. Bother. Take another in our capital. And now I'm just going to start to pair up the riders and just speed through this. Okay, now's a good time to take roads. $15 for a massive map, the largest map we're used to playing with. And I guess that makes sense, it's 30 by 30, and so we spent about 15 turns going in each direction, since it was a bit slower setting up at the beginning, but then we managed to get it moving with roads later on. So, the moment you have all been waiting for, how we get custom maps in Polytopia. And the answer is Polytopia mods. So you'll see a few differences around the sides. And I want to state that this hasn't been made by the official Polytopia team, so I'm using a modded version of the game. I've got the normal official release saved separately on my computer, so I can revert back to it at any time. But if you see any bugs or issues, then that's not the responsibility of the Midi1 team. But this has been made possible by these amazing people who have spent their own time creating the whole modding framework, and so I've installed the Map Maker mod. I'll make another short video in which I explain how to do that yourselves, though unfortunately for mobile players this is only available on Steam. And there are several exciting aspects that this mod affects, but the one that we're going to go into in this video is the custom map size, so we have all of the presets we've played with in this video. But we also have a custom width, which allows us to input anything between 11 and 100. And in my opinion, go big or go home. Also remembering to change that to Archipelago because we are with Kiku, and let's load them up. So the loading screen taking slightly longer than usual, but still that wasn't too long. And zooming out, the map just goes on for seemingly forever. So we've spawned sort of near the centre, so the massive 900 tile games you've played only take up about this much space, against the Mahoosive map that we're playing on right now. So I think I'm going to go for a similar strategy as previously. I'm going to start with a workshop actually, and just march some warriors around to find new villages. Okay, unfortunate with our first one. Will we have any more luck this turn? We do find one. Okay, I'm noticing pressing end turn takes a bit longer, but that makes sense with how much information it's having to process. Okay, this turn I'm going to... Oh, what happened there? Okay, slightly buggy. I tried to press onto the tech tree and it's locked me into a certain side of it. Can I go back? There we go. Okay, the tech tree isn't working. That's not ideal. I'll try and leave the game and see if coming back into it works. Oh! That's weird. Okay, let's try this one more time. So the game has loaded up. We're once again on a Mahoosive map. I'm going to try taking my workshop. And then, do we have any more luck opening the tech tree? No. Right, my guess is that maybe the tech tree was... always off to the side, and you'd never cover it with a normal map. But with the extra tiles that the regular game doesn't have, then it's actually covered where the tech tree is meant to be, because it does seem like it's jumping off to the side here. So that all works normally. Game can't contain the number of sellers though. Okay, well I think our new challenge is going to be how quickly can we reach the 4 lighthouses on a Mahoosive map with a slow end turn button and no tech, so we're going to have to rely purely on rafts. So not the challenge I expected to be playing, but it still should be possible. Hopefully we don't encounter any other bugs on the way. I'll send one more which can go into a port perhaps. Well, I'll move it here for now, and we'll go ahead and get another workshop. Be interesting, I may be able to get tech if I take a ruin. That could allow me to access some that I wouldn't otherwise be able to. Okay, good that we chose Archipelago, because we still will be able to access most of it since a lot will be shallow water. Potentially this would be impossible if we didn't get any sailing from ruins and there was deep water around the edges, but I think that's very unlikely. So chances are we should be good to go, but it's going to be a lot more difficult even than the challenge I'd originally planned, which was difficult on its own. Okay, we connect through here and we're able to upgrade that. Really want to take tech and upgrade with... Oh! Is this... no. I hoped that might be another way to access the tech tree, but unfortunately that doesn't work either. Guess we just place another port down. In fact, I could have just placed a port on this one and connected, but hey ho, we'll do that next turn. And another 2 warriors. So can't buy any tech. That means there's no problem in just capturing both cities. I think I'm still just going to take workshops for now, but eventually there'll be a time when I have more rafts in an area and I can go for my first explorers. What does this ruin have to give us? A swordsman. Not all that helpful. We don't have tech to get on the mountain, so unfortunately we can't access that one. But what I'm going to do is lay a port down and upgrade this. Get another raft down and he can continue exploring by land. Although it doesn't look like either of those connect, so he'll have to go back for the port. Okay, explorer. Not too bad. That is the aim of this challenge, so I'll take that. Well, it's amazing what you can do with just the sailing tech. I was about to show it there, but of course I can't. But it does give you a lot of options for just one technology. Okay, don't really see any point in a giant, so I'm just going to take the extra star per turn. Here I'm going to take some explorers. Makes sense to place the monuments on land actually, because I can actually place ports, but I can't do anything on land at the moment. Really just putting my faith in these ruins and hoping that they'll finally give me sailing, or something else potentially to get me started. Ooh. Okay, so main plan is just sending fleets of ships in different directions, working together since they only have a vision of one, and hoping that they don't get caught by large land masses. So sometimes sending someone on land, since potentially they'll be able to find a quicker way around or lay down a port on the other side of the landmass. And doing that in pretty much all 4 directions. I've got a few different groups going off in case I hit a big continent. Workshops are pretty much useless for me now. They helped in getting things started and funding those early ports, but now explorers are far more useful. I'm wondering, was there any better tribe to choose if I was limited to only their starting tech? Mahoosive still would have been good with riders, and drylands may have been quicker. I'd basically be at a similar speed, just I wouldn't have to navigate all this land. So probably, but I'd have absolutely no economy, so it would have taken me a while to get the riders in the first place. We're working at such large scales though that probably that wouldn't have made too much of a difference. But it would have been nice to be able to rely on just 2 riders in a group, because I'm having to work on slightly larger scales, just because I can't always get round everywhere, and so I need to sometimes use 3 to navigate an island or a bit of deep water. Okay, I think I'm going to ignore training more rafts now. I've got the main fleets ready, and they're making good progress. Ramming! Okay, that's good. So, actually now, going and capturing some villages on the outskirts may be worth it, because I'll be within the borders to allow me to train rammers. So that's a major breakthrough. There we go, Rammer, who has 3 movements, so we'll be able to move a lot quicker. And it's good that I have more than 2 in most of these groups, because with 3 they all have a vision of 1, and so 3 at a time will allow them to move at their maximum rate, but also remembering, of course, that deep water and land will get in the way, so having more than 3 would be ideal. So I may start training in some of these outskirt cities. I was about to jump off since I know you can skip explorer movement with that, so when you go back on, then you miss the animation but you get to see all the vision. However, remembering last time I went off and it opened up some random emoji game, so I don't want that happening and all of my progress to be lost. So unfortunately I think we're going to have to deal with the animation for now. Okay, unfortunate here there's a large lot of deep water, so I think I'll work my way north. Okay, so a little update on all of our groups. We have the West group, who are still a long way off, but there are a good number of rammers with them who are making progress. I had a group of rafts who have come in. I'm going to send a couple round just to test another direction. But I'm expecting that I'll be able to find a quick route this way. The North, I think, is the largest fleet, and I have a group of 3 who are the fastest at the moment, but I'm trying another route around this island just in case this turns out to be a dead end. In the east corner we encountered a large ocean, so I have 3 of them making their way along the south side of it, and a pair along the north. I'm going to upgrade this so I can make another one, since I think 6 is a nice number, allowing me to test 2 different directions whilst keeping 3 so they can move maximally. And in the south, it's difficult with this massive landmass, so I think I'm going to have to reroute these 3 and come and join the more fruitful exploration further east. So pretty much it's just a case of sending groups of rammers towards the corners, but I think I've made it harder than I need to by making this an archipelago. So not all of the tiles I can actually travel on, and I need to kind of pathfind through the maze. My goodness, turn 30, that was way more laborious than I was expecting. But finally we get our first lighthouse. So just 3 to go. So here, as I'm nearing the end in some areas, I've opted to go for the villages, partly because I'm blocked off, so I can access a new route and play a port down there, but also in order to potentially get the lighthouses quicker, since this may give me an opportunity to play an explorer and hit it this turn. So I'm going to attempt that. There we go, straight shot right at it. So that is 2 of 3. And the population has only just hit. So similar here, I'm going to go for double explorer. And it does give us a route around the edge, so we'll be able to go that way, but I think I have more options by heading this way as well. So turn 37, here's how things are looking. And turn 42 brings us our third lighthouse, so just one more. The population finally makes its way there. And we just have this east corner to work with. It's proving a little more difficult though, since there's a body of water we have to navigate. Let's see if there are any ruins around, and they may give me sailing, which might make it slightly easier, though I don't think that's going to be able to get me there much quicker. Okay, 4 ruins. One gives us a swordsman, the other gives us resources. The next gives us another swordsman and resources, so I think the game is telling us that we're going to have to continue with our rammers. We've come this far with them, so we may as well finish that way. Okay, and looking like we may have to land for this final jump. In fact, we will, but we can take the mountain. Oh, I can't take climbing. Of course. Okay, so hopefully this will uncover another water tile. It does, and that means we can get our final lighthouse on turn 48. Navigating this entire archipelago with fleets of rafts and then rammers. I think that was the population from the lighthouse finally making its way there, and we'll go on and take a super unit to finish. Getting our explorer monument on a Mahoosive 10,000 tile map without being able to train any tech. I do hope you enjoyed that as much as I did, and there's a lot more to this mod than I've shown in this video. And that comes in the form of this map maker. So it opens up with an empty map, and after a bit of work I've been able to create this tiny lighthouse setup, which if we go ahead and load it into a new game, will take us to the same map that I've created with all of the randomness removed. So I've tried to make this look as organic as possible, the kind of thing that you could potentially get by just random chance. But I've actually engineered it to have 2 mountains in the perfect spots, so you can get both of the lighthouses and take our explorer here, which should be able to get both of the others without even needing to buy the organisation tech. So that's the I've God monument on turn 2, which I believe is the earliest you can do it. But we'll be exploring this map maker in a lot more detail in my next video. So subscribe if you enjoyed, and I'll see you there.